Hey everybody, welcome to the Center for eLearning at FAU, and we're really happy today to have you joining us for our interactive webinar on digital citizenship. Please make sure you sign in, and then if you have a chance, go to our Padlet, which is located at the address right here. We'll be using that later on in the presentation. And if you didn't get it, our mediator can give it to you. My name is Kathleen McPherson. I'm an instructional designer, and right now I'm sitting in the Jupiter campus of FAU, and really happy to be with you today. Who do we have in there? Is that Dr. Shahada? Hi, it's great to see you. And Judy. And I think Mary's going to join us later. She's not with us right now. Okay, so this is a great picture of our one of our favorite instructional designers, Mary Rotundo. She just became a citizen this past spring with her son. They're from Venezuela, and really excited. Hopefully Mary will join us later on. Today's objectives, we're going to talk about comparing traditional citizenship with digital citizenship. And then we'll discuss best practices for teaching and helping students to become upstanding digital citizens.
Yes, thank you. I was just Nancy, the link to the Padlet, but you're right, we may not even need to discuss. So an upstanding citizen is one that understands and respects the guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. I'm like, respect.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What kind of guidelines would we be talking about? If you're teaching your students to be strong, upstanding citizens, what are some of the things that you want them to actively do?
I mean, do you mean in relation to, like, the online classroom?
No, in life. You're a citizen of the United States, a citizen of the world. What does it take to be a good citizen?
The first thing that always comes to mind is, following the laws, respecting others,
Mm-hmm.
respecting authority.
Yeah, absolutely. Paying your taxes, voting, right? Yeah, being part of the society. Thanks.
Participating.
Yeah, participating. Oops, sorry.
Coming up is respect, no matter which way we, whatever aspect of it we're talking about. In my mind, it's respecting everyone that we are around, respecting and honoring our things that are alike and things that are different.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we're going to open this little discussion before we go to the actual citizenship part and talk a little bit about digital natives and digital immigrants. Last week when we were preparing this, I mentioned the word digital natives. Hey, Julie. And Judy said, well, don't forget digital immigrants. And I thought she just made it up. I thought she was being very clever. And so as I was preparing this, I was thinking, wow, digital immigrants, maybe that sounds derogatory. Is that insulting? Or, gosh, maybe I should just leave it out. Well, lo and behold, it's an actual thing. Anybody else who knew that? Good for you. I had no idea. But in 1999, Don Tapscott and Mark Prensky saw a generation gap between digital immigrants, people who started using the internet in the 1990s, and digital natives who were born into it. I was blown away, just really excited that, oh my gosh, it's not derogatory. We can actually talk about it. That's terrific. Now, Judy, you and I talked about digital immigrants and digital natives before. So can you give some of your impressions, your experience, what you think about that? You called yourself a digital immigrant.
Well, oh, I definitely am, because I did not. I have a 3-year-old that's an active part of my life, and she is by all means a digital native. As I was reading things about kids using electronics, one of the things I read when she was still an infant was, that they start using too, and I'm going, oh my gosh, are you seriously? No way. Well, she was, and yes, and knows what to do on a phone. And,
That's true. My son was born in
I certainly did
1995.
not
Oh, sorry.
grow up with that. And
And we had a computer and we had little educational games for him. And when he started to learn when his name was his path and C-O-R, enter. That was how he spelled his name. They're just born into it. So we've heard it in terms of digital immigrants feeling less comfortable with technology. But what I found was that ironically, as the internet has grown, user exploration has shrunk. Today, when we came into the internet in the 1990s, it was called cyberspace, and you'd meet strangers, and maybe if you chatted with somebody, that was somebody else who was kind of geeky like you, but your friends weren't on it. You might email through AOL or something like that, but it wasn't a social thing. Now, it has really turned upside down, so that digital natives, they don't understand what the internet can actually do, because they haven't been out on the World Wide Web. They've been kind of focused on just the Facebook and Google or the smartphone apps that generate their attention, but they don't really have the capacity to understand what the internet can actually do. So you get somebody like in our picture here, Dr. Charles Roberts. It was one of our Excellence in eLearning Award winners for leadership. He was so, what's the word? Not intuitive, innovative in doing all kinds of, using it for geographical studies and, the military uses stuff. It's amazing. My kids have no idea. And it's kind of like being in and I would say, guys, Americans, my kids live right next door to the supermarket and we drive there, okay? You guys know how to do it the hard way. You walk and, so it's kind of, I've heard us put ourselves down as digital immigrants, but we need to see our strength and our ability to empower the students that we have, because they do not know more than we do. They really don't. They might be more comfortable, but they need our guidance. If you don't believe me, here's one example. This came from an article that was called Facebook. Millions of Facebook users have no idea they're using the internet. And they polled some people in Indonesia and Nigeria, and they identified themselves as using Facebook, but not the internet. This one's a little better. Even in the United States, the percentage, there's 5% of the respondents who agreed that that Facebook is the internet. They did not they couldn't tell the difference between Facebook and the internet. I had no idea. But if that's all you're using, I don't know, very, very interesting. And there's a lot of people in Indonesia using technology. Certainly India, all these countries. We have still quite a ways to go when it comes to educating folks in the capacity for digital uses. One of the things that I thought was also quite important is the difference between digital citizenship, being a digital citizen versus being a digital or technology consumer. And we'll kind of go into that. With new technologies, we really need to guide our students to become digital citizens rather than people who just consume or use it for entertainment. Okay. Digital citizenship used to be all about safety. A couple of years ago when I was teaching in public high school, the whole district shut down for a couple of hours all at the same time, and we had a mandatory training in digital citizenship, and it was all about cyberbullying, watching out for online predators, malware, viruses, identity theft, all of these things. Oh, I just see Willie wants to speak. Willie, where are you?
I was just typing a comment saying that.
Please.
Oh, sorry. Hello. I was just typing a comment saying that a lot of our technology that we're saying the natives should know how to use naturally and should be masters of were created by the baby boomers and Generation X. And they might be a little more native to the idea of being productive with the technology than the millennials at the moment without some guidance.
That makes sense to me. And I really appreciate the input. Please, I would really rather have folks jump in than just listen to me drone on and on. Yeah, we taught kids that universities and employers are watching your Facebook page, so watch out what you post. And remember Dateline doing To Catch a Predator. It was all about creepy guys trying to meet teenage girls, right? But digital citizenship has changed. The new definition is the ability to participate in society online. And we really find that it's not much different from regular traditional citizenship, being a citizen of the United States, being a citizen of Mexico, Canada. It really boils down to be kind, be responsible, and just do the right thing. And our students need to know how to do that. Educators, I found this great quote from Mike Ribble, who was the author of Digital Citizenship in Schools. He says, as many educators know, most students want to do the right thing, and they will if they know what that is. So let's help them do great things with technology while avoiding the pitfalls. Instead of just warning them about the evils of technology, we need to bring them in and show them the capabilities and how to actually be a digital citizen. ISTE is the International Society for Technology and Education. This is a wealth of information when it comes to digital citizenship. This blue box here, if you go to ISTE, you can download a whole workbook, a whole book on digital citizenship defined. They had this great little infogram here, and I'll be stealing a lot of their stuff today from that, so I just wanted to acknowledge. It was kids, so I didn't want to use the whole thing because we're higher ed, but they break it down into 9 essential elements of digital citizenship. Respect, education, and protection, and then there's digital access, digital etiquette, digital law. You can read the rest. But in this workshop, we're going to focus on access, communication, literacy, commerce, and health and wellness. I kind of figured we know about etiquette, we know about safety and security, so I really wanted to just focus on some of the newer stuff. So a citizen is somebody who advocates for equal human rights for all. And a digital citizen advocates for equal digital rights and access for all. this I thought was just fascinating. There's the Internet World Stats, and I really had fun looking at this last night. So this is the world internet usage and population statistics from June of 2017. And the column that you want to look at here is the penetration rate, the percent within the population. So in Africa, 31.2% of their population is using the internet. Asia, 46.7%. Europe, 80.2%, and you can read that. So we tend to think that, wow, the whole world is on the internet. They are, but there's still a lot of people that don't have access to it. And I thought we could take just a minute to talk about the implications of that digital divide, the folks that still don't have the ability to communicate online. Oh, Willie, I can't hear you.
Oh, that wasn't a comment.
Oh, wasn't a comment? Okay. Well, you can still jump in.
I was just
like,
amazed to see that.
That was me trying to jump in. And I was going to say that as we continue to build online courses,
4,000.
I'm sorry, wait, we've got two people talking at the same time. Hold on just a second. So let's go to Judy first and then we'll come back to Willie, okay? Thank you.
Are you kidding me? No, Willie needs to go first.
Okay, Willie goes first and then Judy. Somebody go first.
Say that again, Kathy.
There we go. Okay, so Willie, please, what you were about, just what your observations are about this data.
Oh, no, I was just saying I was amazed at the growth percentage, the next to the last column. And I was saying just looking at Africa growing 8,000%, looking at the Middle East growing 4,000, Latin America and the Caribbean growing 2,000% in the 17-year period. And Dr. Golden was saying that, they didn't start with the same level of infrastructure that we did. And so once that infrastructure came into place, they just kind of took off rather than it being a slow climb like we have here in North America.
Absolutely, thanks. Judy?
I was just going to say that our part of our underlying intent with online courses is to be able to draw from people anywhere. And I know in College of Business, that is one of the things that they definitely try to do. So when you look at the percentages of people in other countries that actually have access, that makes it kind of a startling comparison. So someone who definitely wants to take one of the courses is going to have to either go find some place, which we do when our power is out, have to go find some place to use the internet. But it makes a compelling reason for a draw for them.
I just wanted to say really quick, I found it really interesting looking at the actual usage. And at the moment, I have in my online classes, I think a total of 5 students that I have 2 in Guyana, in Bahamas, and with Hurricane Maria going to Bahamas, yes. The students I have in the Bahamas are, they literally don't have access. There's no power. They're having some issues. And it's interesting the level of accessibility where we just assume that,
yes.
We can access it anywhere, we are. I look at my daughter who takes a lot of online classes as well, and she'll just, Starbucks, library, whatever. If she feels like the internet's not fast enough, or something. So it's just really interesting looking at those numbers when you kind of assume that your students have the same level of accessibility as you do.
Absolutely.
That's such a good point. And, just looking here at the United States, there's still a percentage of people who don't have access. This is access to the internet. This is not internet in your home. This is not necessarily in a computer. you have a cell phone access to the internet. You have some access. And so we really need to be, especially as online learning professionals, as you all are saying, aware of our students' situations and encouraging our students to take a part in improving all of that. There's, you know, just there's, what is it, net, hold on a second. I'll get to the second a little bit. I was really hoping Mary would come in. She became a new citizen this year, and so we were excited to have her talk about her experience as a new citizen. Okay, this follows along with what we were talking about a second ago. Did somebody want to jump in? Okay, so a citizen communicates clearly, respectfully, and with empathy. A digital citizen follows etiquette, which we've heard about before, and uses social media and other types of internet resources to promote humanitarianism and social conscience. We're seeing this a lot right now, especially we just saw it with, as you said, Hurricane Irma and Maria, where we're able to see in real time how people are doing. We're able to connect with each other. We're able to spread the word about things, resources that need to be brought. Folks are using the internet for GoFundMe, for crowdfunding and fundraising websites. They're giving each other all kinds of information about pretty much any cause that you want to talk about. Go build a website and raise awareness. Political, human rights, civil rights. There's the SantaClausEffect.com where it's kind of like a Make-A-Wish sort of a thing. Then there's also net neutrality, which is this movement to apply, I'm going to have to read it because I'm not going to get this right. It says they're applying well-established common carrier rules to the internet in order to preserve its freedom and openness. Willie, can you tell us a little bit more about that, or Julie, because that's a really new thing for me. Can't hear somebody.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. We built, the way the internet was built, it started out with the government and military. Now it's everywhere. We believe it should be as free as, tap water. But there are different companies and some government groups that feel that you should be able to actually charge and tax the way the internet works. And it's led to a lot of confusion, some misinformation, action groups about it. But each year the discussion comes up and there's 1,000 there's 1,000 petitions about it, about keeping the internet neutral, where we're not saying, well, the people with more money get more access, or the people with less money only get this little bit of speed or this little bit of access to certain sites, etc. And the argument has always been, that I agree with, is that because of the influence and how ubiquitous the internet has become, it absolutely must be made available to everyone.
That makes sense, but I can imagine and I can see that it's really a political hotbed where people are really arguing about whether they should or shouldn't. Okay, a citizen actively pursues an education and develops habits for lifelong learning. That's all okay, so a digital citizen uses digital tools to continue learning and keep abreast of new technologies. Well, that's what we're doing right now. We connect with our community of practice, continue to share new tools with each other, encourage each other to try new things and tell each other what's going on. Willie's right here to tell us more about net neutrality. Now we know. So it's just really, really similar to a regular citizen there. Okay. Money. An upstanding citizen spends and manages money responsibly. A digital citizen makes responsible online purchasing decisions. We try not to sit up late at night drinking wine and having an eBay password. Protecting your payment information. Being aware of the economic impact of the internet on society. That's a really big one. That was part of what we were just talking about with net neutrality, but being aware of how does the internet affect society and how does society affect the internet. Then using technical skills to enhance the workplace productivity and career options. We need to promote, let's see, one of my favorite websites is the Project for 21st Century Learning. And they have interwoven core subjects with citizenship skills, literacy skills, life skills, all kinds of things. And one of their themes into key subjects is to promote understanding of academic content at much higher levels by weaving 21st century interdisciplinary themes, and one of them is their economic understanding, being able to, oh, okay, Judy, come on in. Yep.
No, I was just going to say that when I think about the term citizenship, I rarely think of the economic aspect of it. So I'm glad that that's a part of it. Spends and manages money responsibly. I don't know. But that, I mean, and we definitely do know to do that online to make sure that we don't shop any place that doesn't have the padlock on the, that whole thing. But it's funny that I don't think of money as being a part of being a citizen.
Well, certainly paying taxes, that's a huge part of being a citizen.
Yeah.
And every purchase that you make is part of your citizenship. And then purchasing illegal things, and what are you going to do with the things that you purchase? Which car are you going to buy? Are you going to buy a hybrid? Are you going to buy a gas guzzler? Okay. Julie, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, I just wanted to say something about the 21st century employability skills. That's a really important part of this conversation too. So economic impact is huge in terms of that. If you think about where the digital divide is, and that the folks who do not have the skills to be digital citizens can't get the jobs right now. And so that makes the point again about the haves and the have-nots. The have-nots are falling deeper into a cycle of not being able to get the jobs that are required now. Since I think I had a statistic before, like 2009, 3 million jobs that never existed before have been created now. They're all digital jobs. These are all jobs that someone that hasn't been trained in digital literacy, that isn't fluent in using the internet or using digital tools, cannot get. So it's such a big deal that you probably have this as one of your resources, Kathy, but there's a website called digitalliteracy.gov, which gives workforce development tools for people to take tutorials. There are presentations, there are reports, there's a lot of research in there about how teachers can start infusing that into it, especially for their underserved population. So I just wanted to make that point about how deep the economics of this goes as well.
Thank you so much, Julie. And at the same time, the jobs that folks who didn't have a lot before, the manual labor and other kinds of jobs, they're going away because of the computer. So absolutely, that's so important. And then it circles back to advocating for other people. It all kind of intertwines together. Okay, an upstanding citizen proactively promotes their own physical and mental health. If you don't, society is going to have to take care of you. A digital citizen limits their health risks from technology, whether it's physical or psychological. We suffer from muscle soreness and muscle fatigue. I've got it in my arms right here. Vision problems, headaches, obesity, stress disorders, people staying up too late playing video games. You hear about people forming relationships with other folks that they meet inside. Willie's just smiling here. There's crimes and suicides because somebody on the internet broke up with their character, right? Yeah, it's crazy. It sounds crazy if you're not doing it, but if you're in it, you know, we get addicted to these things. I've got an app on my phone I get to design furniture in different kinds of settings and houses and stuff, and I get points for playing today, and I check it every night. It's so much fun. But I'm not going to go into stress because my thing didn't work out, but people do.
Kathy,
Okay.
That's a question.
We've got 2 people, I think. Okay. Go ahead, Willie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, basically, when we talk about preparing people to be responsible citizens, we typically trust our education system to play a major role in that.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the things you're talking about here, are these things included in the curriculum in higher ed, or how do we prepare people for digital citizenship?
I'm glad you brought that up. That's actually our very next slide. How do we do this? You can go on and find all kinds of elementary resources for how to promote physical health and communication and all kinds of things, but I'm not sure that it's been hard to find resources for higher ed. Maybe we want to share a little bit ideas for how do we actually implement this philosophy now, this worldview. As we said before, our students really need us. So, yeah, Julie?
So what I was thinking, Kathy, is that that's a great conversation for us to be having, and that's pretty much what this community of practice is all about. You're right. I've done some research on this. I find a lot of resources for what K through 12 or even pre-K through 12 can do. There are some great websites out there for Connect Ed, about future-ready districts and things like that. And it is applicable to higher ed if one were wanting to make it so, but it's not, nothing is really targeted in that direction, or not nothing, but very little of this, large-scale digital citizenship curriculum stuff. So, I think that's kind of a grassroots thing that people like us and the faculty we work with can promote. How do we infuse this into, and which courses are appropriate for that? I know that Dr. Shahada is there. She teaches in healthcare management. That's maybe a good place to address these things. Look at who are the students and what are they coming in with, and does some of this get infused into it? Do we just assume that students who have arrived on our doorstep at a university already have these skills? I think if we do, we're missing out a little bit on where they're really at.
For sure. Thank you so much. Judy and Dr. Shahada, did you want to share?
I was just saying that I completely agree, and just that assumption, assuming that, they understand this, the whole, I'm losing my train of thought, but what I had wanted to say is that I completely agree with what Julie said, and we do need to be aware of that.
Thanks. Willie and Judy, did you guys want to share or no? No, okay. So I did find a couple of things that, again, they were geared for elementary, but they're certainly applicable to what we do and in an online class. So the first one is to lead by example. That's the way you teach your children and your students to be good traditional citizens. You model good citizenship. You talk to them about it. You take them to places where they can learn the history, they can participate, that kind of thing, and using the language that is appropriate, all that sort of thing, just leading by example. Knowing what resources are available, finding out what's still out there, and then sharing them out, just like we've talked about as our community of practice. We can teach students how to create and produce content for a global audience. And I thought this was particularly interesting because this is something that our group does as a regular basis anyway. When we do our discussion boards, when you're writing for the purpose of your writing to be seen by someone else, that is an example of creating content for a global audience. And when you're commenting on what somebody else wrote, you're practicing how to do that, so that if you participate in a blog online, if you participate in surveys or whatever it is, you know how to do that, and you understand what the guidelines are in terms of etiquette and what's appropriate, and don't call them a jerk, you know, that kind of stuff. Checking the validity of sources. I saw one article that said that students really don't know the difference between fact and opinion. And we've had all of this talk about fake news. And that's really one of the important elements that I think we at the higher ed level can certainly do. We can make sure that teach them a way to check the validity of the web page that they're using. And when we're done, I'm going to send you a PDF with some extra resources, and one of them has a website checker web page on it. And then we can expose students, as far as creating and producing content for global audience, this ties in with number 4, exposing them to the vast capabilities of technology. We already said that digital immigrants understand how the internet works much better than some of the digital natives. The digital natives, as we said, think that Facebook and Netflix and Amazon and Google search is really all there is, but there isn't. You know, it's capable of so many more things, and we need to have a sense of adventure and excitement in letting them create things that try something brand new. That's, you know, letting them be creative, not being afraid that it won't work, just really trying some new stuff. Thank you.
Kathy, regarding the sources and the fake news, I just caught my attention when you were talking about that. I mean, most of the courses, you know, I teach on the graduate level, and usually we do make that assumption. And the last couple of semesters, I've actually been sending out like a PDF of what a credible source is, because we assume that students, even on the graduate level, would comprehend that, but not everyone does. So that was a great point that you brought up.
Thank you. And I think you get, sorry, go ahead, Judy.
I was just going to mention that when our students know that they're presenting someone that's going to be viewed out of the classroom, they're going to be more actively engaged in it. Students working on a research project that we're going to put out there for the rest of the semester, and they're much more engaged and much more diligent about what they do.
Absolutely. One of the things that we know motivates millennials is that their things get liked, how many likes they get or how many views they get. And Canvas has the capability of, you can like somebody's posts. I mean, it motivates me. I'm not a millennial, but I like to see how popular I am. I would love to stay here and keep talking all day, but we have got to honor our schedule, and thanking all of you for being with us today. I'm going to send you Stay Online, because I'll give you a link for that resource. But coming up October 2nd, we're having Motivating Learners Through Assessment. The week after that is Course Building Through Alignment. That'll be working on our blueprints and getting our plans going. And then October 16th is a discussion about learner-to-learner interaction beyond the discussion board. Very, very exciting. I'm going to send you the link right now. Okay, to everyone. Okay. And we just really thank you for your time. Your time is the most valuable thing you have, and we're very privileged that you chose to spend that time with us. We hope you have a great week. Thank you. Bye-bye.